I'm really learning to love the process of writing. And I think that's what's making this draft so different from the other ones that I've written. Enjoying it very much. Hello and welcome back to another video. I am so into my writing project. If you're new here or you don't know, I'm Katie, I'm a writer, and I've been working on the first draft of a dark academia fantasy novel. It is an adult novel, it has lots of dark themes. It is the perfect thing for me to be writing in the autumn. So I'm really into it and I want to give it a good go this week. If you've watched my previous videos, you'll know I've had, I don't know how to describe it that isn't negative, because I don't feel it was a negative experience. Maybe I did at the time, but I don't anymore. I had a bumpy start, a rocky start with the book. I have rewritten the beginning several times, maybe 4 or 5 times, each time getting to the late teens or 20,000 words and then having to redo it all because something wasn't quite right. So now I feel pretty confident in the direction I'm heading. I know that it's the right direction for the book to be going in, which is great. I'm very, very glad because it hasn't been the case. All those were necessary to get me to this point. So I'm really hoping this week I can get back into a writing routine. I did have a really good practice of writing in the morning before work. If you don't know, I am a designer. I run a studio with my partner, so I do have a degree of flexibility over my time. I do like to keep writing quite compartmentalized, so I'm hoping that I can write before work every day, 8 a.m. till 9 a.m. and then at 9, you know, I go away and I do work. Today is Monday morning, so it's the start of a brand new week. In my last video you'll have seen I spent all of Friday evening writing and that was lovely. I do like an evening writing routine. I can't do it very often because I do feel the knock-on effects the next day, and I think it's that amount of time on a screen late at night and it affects my eyes, and yeah, it makes me feel a lot more groggy the next day and I don't love it. So morning routines is what we're going to try this week. So today has started badly because I had an appointment in that time slot, so I wasn't able to write, and I really want to start off on a good foot. So I want to act as though the day is picking up where it should be and I'm just going to go to work. So I'm probably not going to do any writing this morning. I feel like I will catch up this week. I don't necessarily need to do it today. If I do write today, I'll probably write in my notebook or I might write in the evening, but again, I'm trying to avoid screens too late at night. So notebook it is. I've been writing a lot in this. I've been writing a lot of prose, and I used to be an avid note taker for my projects. I think the issue that I was having is that the form the notes took were sort of a note to self. They were directions and instructions, but I wasn't writing. So I was doing lots of planning essentially. And now that I am firmly drafting and I've spent so long developing this project, I'm making a real effort to show myself what I mean when I have an idea by writing it in prose form. In here I have lots of snippets of prose, I have snippets of dialogue, I have imagery, I have all sorts of things. When I'm really stuck with writing, I am going to this notebook and I'm taking something and I'm either elaborating on it or I'm just typing it up so I have it in my Scrivener document. But this is my little thing that I can rely on when I'm finding it really hard to start writing and I just need an easy, let's just type something up that we've already got in the bank. And I'm not including this in the word count, so even if I write in this later today, I won't write down anywhere that I have written a certain number of words because I'm not counting this in the same way. But it's been very helpful. I'm really, really enjoying it. I think I showed this notebook off in my last video. No, I definitely remember doing that because I went a bit mad and I was very enthusiastic about my notebooks. I actually have a third notebook now, which I found in a box that I had forgotten about, and it's like a junk notebook. I'm just writing down any random lists I have. It's like really like for my productivity. I have a page at the front which is my daily habit tracker that I've been doing recently because there's a couple of things that I'm trying to do better. So screen time is one, which I've just mentioned. I'm trying to get out for a walk every day or do some form of exercise every single day. I also have my writing down in here and a couple of other things. Lots of notebooks. I need it to stay sane, especially because I can lose time very easily and I need to stay on top of things if I'm going to get videos out and I'm going to get my writing done, I'm going to get all my work done. So I'm being a big girl. It does require 3 notebooks for that to happen. So I wish it was another way, but I'm secretly enjoying it. All that being said, I need to get to work and I will probably see you guys later today or maybe tomorrow when I actually do the writing. testing, how are we doing? Happy Friday. I don't think I'm in focus anymore. Okay, I think we're good. I didn't really check in with you guys during the week, but as you can see, I was on a roll with writing, and I think by the time I'd finished work and I'd finished my writing for the day, I just needed to be away from screens. And I know I keep talking about that, but honestly, the impact it's had has been amazing. I'm sleeping better. I'm feeling more energized in the morning. I'm finding more time for reading rather than being on my phone. So I haven't checked in as much, but it's been an amazing week. I feel really reset. I feel really calm. I feel like it was quite easy to sit down to write every morning. I didn't expect it to feel easy at all. I thought it would feel hard, and some moments in the morning I would catch myself thinking, oh, are you sure you want to go and write? Like, shouldn't you be avoiding that? And I just thought, no, I actually really want to. And something about doing it in the morning means you just do. Everybody can get ready in the morning without massively overthinking it or questioning it or procrastinating. I think you have to be out the door by a certain time. You have to be ready by a certain time. So you just get ready and you just go. And the morning writing has been part of my routine. So I know that at 8 a.m. or very soon after I need to be at my desk, I've made so much progress. I started off the week with 25,000 words, and now I've hit 30, which feels like an amazing milestone. And those 5,000 words feel very solid. I feel they are good contributions to the draft. And according to Scrivener, I'm on track to meet my bigger goal, which is to have the draft finished for December, which I don't know if that will happen. My real goal is to have the draft written by the end of the year. So having it written for December isn't hugely necessary. I needed to set myself a manageable target, so I decided to say, okay, let's let this draft be 70,000 words by the end of November, and we'll see where we're at then, because I don't know that it's going to be that word count. I think I'm probably going to need more. I do tend to underwrite parts of the story. I do think things will need to be added. I know that while I've done a good job of adding dialogue, adding real scenes, I also find things like introspection and narrative summary and sort of time passing and kind of looking at everything in like a bit of a broad view. I find that stuff quite natural, and I have to make sure I don't lean on that too much, because I don't want a book entirely made up of those components. So there will be things I need to add in, but I also think that description is quite often overwritten in my first drafts. I think that's quite common because I'm trying to find what I mean and I'm just putting it down, not really overthinking the editing. I'm not really editing what I'm doing, I'm just going for it. And that's been amazing actually, because it's not slowed me down, and I've had so many drafts that I've, worked at for a long time, and then I've looked at it and I've thought, why is my word count gone down, or why is my word count up by only 50 words and I've been at this for an hour? That's great for the editing stage. For right now, I'm gathering material, it's going well. I've had a really good week and I really want to keep up the morning writing routine. It's work dependent. Sometimes work strays into the evening and then it's so hard to get up the next day, and it's that thing where I'm torn between conserving my energy and what have you. But it is difficult to get back to something like writing in the morning when you haven't been doing it every day. Like if you've missed a day or two, it is hard to get back. But I saw something recently that I'm trying to remind myself of, which is just missing something one day doesn't mean that it's no longer a habit or that it's no longer true, or it's not something that you do. But I think there is something to be said about the momentum, but I'm trying not to beat myself up if I have a day where I just can't do it. Like Monday, you saw on Monday, the day was running away from me and I had work to do. So I thought, I'm not going to write. That time has passed for the morning. I will start afresh tomorrow. And that really helped, having that kind of forgiveness of myself, because I am trying to unlearn some degree of perfectionism. I've come a long way with it. I think it will always be something that I have to maneuver a little bit. I think that's true of a lot of writers, but this first draft has been so freeing. I just blurt and just get it down, and I've never worked like that, and it's magical. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really, really loving this first draft. It's still work, it's still hard, I'm still grappling with a lot of it, but I'm loving it. Before I go, I really want to talk about something that I found useful, which I think is what bridges the gap for me between being a planner and being a pantser, somebody that discovery writes and somebody that, you know, follows the outline to the letter. I love the planning stage and I find it so helpful, and as I'm doing that, I'm quite often writing stream of consciousness. I'm adding little bits and pieces. It might not make it into the draft, but that's what I'm doing. A habit that I used to have that I've been trying to unlearn and rethink is I would go away, draft, and then when I reached a lull, it could be to do with motivation, it could be for any reason, I would just always think that there's something wrong with my story, and I would go back to the drawing board, I would re-outline and do everything again, and I think that's really useful, and it is something that works at certain intervals. I was doing this too much. I mean, in the last draft that I wrote for a different project, I ended up with a very Frankenstein's monster mess of a draft that had bits and pieces that were in different tense, or, you know, they follow different plans, and because I was trying to just push through and not go back to edit, but I changed so much of the project and it was really difficult. So what I'm trying to do now is, yes, I'm not going back to edit. If I change my mind, I make a note of it somewhere, but in rewriting my beginnings over and over and editing them and making sure that I liked them before moving on, that's really helped, because it gave me permission to edit and go back without having to still have the pressure of doing a full draft. Like, you know, it's like, just do the beginning, kind of get down what you think the story should look like. It's like a peek into the future of like, what could a second draft of this look like if this is the way you're going to go. Of course, that's just a mentality to have. Like, I definitely will be editing this beginning thoroughly, and I already know there are so many things I want to change about it, but I'm not going to do that now. With all that being said, I definitely still do have the urge during this draft to check that my story's working, to step back, look at the big picture and just understand, is everything slotting together? Is everything right? And it doesn't have to be. That's partly why I'm writing this draft, is to figure it out. But what I have been doing at times is doing little exercises in my notebook. By hand is really helpful because it relies upon the idea I have in my head and I'm not tied to what I've already written. So when I go and apply it later, I know that it's what I really intend for the book, rather than the book leading me, like what I've already written in the draft leading the direction of where I want to go. So some of these exercises I've been doing, I'm doing 2 at the moment, and they're taking a little bit of time and some thought. But one question I have for myself is, what decisions is my main character making? And looking at those key decisions that she makes to make sure not only that she's active, making sure the decisions are as dramatic as they need to be in order to really give the story some energy. So every decision, for me personally, for this book, I'm making a lose-lose situation. So she has to choose between 2 objectively bad things for lots of complicated reasons, and it's a difficult decision. I definitely want every decision to feel difficult. And then have her make the decision. I think about the build-up, you know, what led to the decision, what's necessary, what do I have to have included in the story for this decision to be set up correctly, and what have you. And then I obviously have the decision being made, and then what I think is really important is having the decision cost the main character something, or cost other people something. By choosing something, you're cutting off other options. So I'm thinking about it in those terms. And then the other thing, which I've seen people talk about in terms of your plot and like chain of events, but always trying to include where you can an unexpected consequence. So, you know, you have your character weighing up, do I choose this or do I choose this? I know what the costs are for both. And then even when they've made their decision and they've paid the cost, there is still something unexpected that happens afterwards. And there are themes of morality in my book, so this feels especially important, but I do think it's something that you can apply to any book that you're writing. I think anything that's very character-led, this is important. So I'm doing that, and I'm really enjoying it, and as you can imagine, there's quite a bit with each decision, so I'm taking my time with it. I'm kind of analysing what I'm doing and then moving on. And I'm really enjoying it. It's adding such depth to my writing, and it's helping me understand what I'm doing on the page, because sometimes I find I'm there and I know what happens in terms of the events. I can see it like a scene, like a film in my head, but it's what it means and the implications of what's happening and the wider picture. I always want to keep that in mind. It's very difficult to hold it all in your head at the same time, but this is helping me add depth into those key moments, which I'm hoping will pay off. But even if I change my mind on certain things later, I think this is still very good work. So I just wanted to share in case anybody else found it useful. I do think this is the sort of thing you would typically look at in a later draft. It might be because I've spent what I feel like is such a long time with this project that I'm kind of jumping ahead, but I feel that I'm able to incorporate it into my drafting, so it's not overwhelming, and it does feel like it's informing and it's relevant. And that's that thing of writing advice, that there's no one size fits all. There's no one size fits all, even for the same writer working on different projects. So it's working for this one for now. I just want to share my thoughts, so hopefully someone will find it useful. The other similar sort of exercise that I've been doing is asking myself about conflict. So obviously my book is in a dark academic setting, so there is an institution, there are different characters within the institution, and there are students, and then there's my main character, and then there's all sorts of other people. And it's important to me that not only do the characters have conflict with each other, but every person has some sort of conflict. I'm creating this web of conflict between everyone, and it's looking at the sort of types of conflict, because you can have an argument, you can just respect somebody, and you can want different things. It can be conflict that is, like actiony and violent, and it doesn't all have to be like that. I think that's kind of my point of why I'm doing this, is I'm looking at how they can have conflict in different and more subtle ways, and sometimes someone doesn't even know that someone else is actively working against them. That one I haven't spent too much time on, so I won't talk about it much more because I'm still figuring it out. But these two things feel very important to my book, and I'm spending time on them, and I'm really enjoying it. It's that fun thing I can do on the sofa with my notebook. I'm doing it in bits and pieces. I'm not sort of saying, okay, now I have to do it and have an hour. I need to have it finished by the end of that time. I'm just enjoying it, and it's adding this like richness to my experience of writing the book, which is great. And it's really nice to have handwritten copies of my notes, and I'm hoping that when I've done this project, I've just got this full notebook full of all my thoughts and ideas, and I can look back and see how I put it together, because I'm really learning to love the process of writing, and I think that's what's making this draft so different from the other ones that I've written. So yes, enjoying it very much. That brings us to the end of the video. If you are still watching, thank you so much. I hope you guys have enjoyed hanging out with me for this week and seeing my writing as I've been ticking away slowly every day and just trying to make a dent in it. I have really enjoyed spending the week and kind of putting together this snapshot of this specific stage in the project with a bit more reflection and a bit more detail and a bit more in general to share with you guys. I've been really enjoying it. Let me know if you're reading anything good at the moment. Let me know if you're writing. I want to hear all about it. And yeah, until next time, I will see you in the next video. Bye!